I'm Precious.
I'm Samuel, and this is
More Passion Than Perfection.
So this is week 4 here in Dakar, Senegal, and today we're going to talk a bit about the history of the monument de la Renaissance Africaine. So to give us more details about the monument, the history, the controversies behind it, and just the symbolism and meaning today, we had a talk with our program director for CIEE, Serigne, and here to share more about him, please welcome Serigne to MPTP.
Yes, our first interview.
Whoosh! Whoosh! Whoosh!
My name is Serigne Ndiaye, and I have been the director of CIEE in Senegal for almost 17 years now, when we started the program. So I'm Senegalese. I did my studies in Senegal and in the US, and I've been back since I finished my PhD in the US, and I've been living in Senegal. Well, the monument de la Renaissance Africaine is an idea that Abdoulaye Wade, the former president of Senegal, had. I think he also worked with others to build something to commemorate what he calls African Renaissance. And you probably have followed lots of the debates about that. But his idea was to have a place here that Africans from the continent and from the diaspora can go to also contemplate the grandeur, the greatness of Africa and the resilience of people of African descent in general. That was his idea, as at least reported. There was, as I said, a lot of controversy around the monument, and a lot of people felt that first something that big, something that is supposed to symbolize African Renaissance should be the outcome of a collective thinking involving a lot more people and maybe having input from different people, individuals and organizations that also have stakes in this. That did not seem to be the case, and part of it is also related to the financial montage of the project that a lot of people criticize, because it was reported that the former president wanted to have, to be paid for the copyright and, having to receive also some part of whatever came out of the visit, which I think was a little odd and awkward, to say the least, especially when his job was actually to execute whatever could benefit the country as an elected president. In addition to the fact that it happened at a time when a lot of people felt, that money should have been spent in other sectors, especially energy, because when we go back to the context, it was a time when there was a lack of energy, electricity, power cuts all the time, and people really going through hard times in terms of getting work done because they could not have electricity, and households could not have electricity for them. So a lot of them wasted energy at that time when money was invested in a sector that many people did not feel was a priority. Well, there are a couple of things at least that I can cite. One was related to the iconography itself. The fact that you have a lot of people felt that it represented everything but African people. The way that the woman is dressed, for instance, very scantily dressed, people felt it was not really very African to begin with. The fact that you have, and these are maybe the cynical view, people say, okay, if it is the African Renaissance, why is that boy who seems to be the future pointing a direction that is not bound towards Africa, the middle of the continent, but towards the west? Because actually that finger or hand is actually reaching out to the west instead of actually to the center of Africa. Those are cynical views that people may have, but should may be symbolic. So the architecture itself has been decried by a lot of people as something that could have been done differently. The other aspect is that it was done by Koreans, and the architect was not African. So as you can see, there were a lot of criticism that were leveled against the project itself in its conception and in its execution, in terms of the architecture, in terms of also who was in charge of doing it. And so those are a couple of things that I said were very much on the mind of a lot of critics of the project. No, to be fair to Abdullah Wad, when we need to admit that sometimes you are on the right, maybe in hindsight. It is one of the major landmarks of Dakar now. When people visit the monument, when people come to Dakar, one of the places they want to visit is the monument. So at least I think he has managed to build a landmark for Dakar. It's important to say that this is also how history is written. There are many controversies. There are things that are done. It's a site of memory for some, maybe. It's just another touristy place for others. Regardless of how people think about it, the reality is that people who are interested in looking at them and visiting that monument, I think they need to know where it came from, what his initiator thought about it, what he wanted to do with it, and what the people of Senegal felt about his project then, and what people still think about that project, how or whether it is contributing to the economy of Senegal, and overall, what does it symbolize for Senegalese people, for African people, for people from the African diaspora? Those are questions that people can answer based on how they feel about the complex play between memory, economics, and maybe ethics. Who knows? So if there are any closing words, those are my words.